The Project. Kuwait. Learn. Live.
Have you ever suppressed your emotions?
I love when you do that in the intros.
Well,
No, this episode was a doozy. I jumped in 10 minutes into it, and I ruined the first, 20
pretty
minutes
much
of
20
it.
minutes.
But it's all good. Dr. D jumps into suppressing emotions, why we shouldn't, and what we can do. And I think the best part was the takeaways you gave everybody at the end.
Well, I hope people can benefit because there are more damage with suppressing emotions than just, hiding them. I think we talked a lot about the difference between hiding them and suppressing them. So I hope people will really benefit from the signs, the symptoms, what to do.
And I'm in this episode too.
Hey, and in this episode. And don't forget to leave a rating and review on iTunes. And don't forget to recommend the show to your friends and family.
All this and more in today's episode.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to this quick episode of Psyched with Dr. D.
Yes.
And you have me again.
Oh, yeah. We're very lucky.
Right?
Yeah. It's like, no, I enjoy having you here.
2 episodes in a row.
That's
Well, yeah,
right.
Maddie's a meathead. Who needs him?
He's going to get jealous because he's going to think we've replaced him, right?
It's fine. When the numbers keep going up, he'll know why.
And then he's like, you girl, just take care of it. You'll just benefit.
So,
No.
Dr. D,
Yeah.
we like to talk about emotions a lot.
We do. And it seems like we like to talk about emotions, but there are a lot of other people who suppress their emotions.
That's right. So, what happens when you suppress your emotion?
It has come to my attention also from, my clients that I see, like, they think it's like something like normal. Whenever I talk about emotions, they're like, no, who needs to talk about them? I just suppress them. I never have to look at them again. Lots of people are under the impression that if I don't speak about it, if I just, suppress it, leave it, it's gone. They don't really understand it is not gone. It is somewhere in your body.
And it manifests in different ways, doesn't it?
Of course, it manifests in different ways. And today, I want to talk about 8 places where it can manifest, according to the literature. Few of them, like, if you think about it, it's like really, have people not really thought about it? Like, for example, memory lapses. Oftentimes, people that suppress their emotions, they're saying to you, I can't remember things. My memory's very impaired. I don't remember things like I used to remember. And then, it could be many other reasons, but one reason you really need to start thinking about is that maybe I am suppressing my feelings because I'm suppressing my feelings, memory of these events. I'm not tapping into them. I'm not coding them correctly. So this memory lapses means that you don't remember certain events. And maybe because there were certain emotions that happened in these events that you didn't really code it correctly because of whatever emotion. And this really happens a lot of times because sometimes I get people saying, do you think I should go do hypnotherapy? Because I can't remember what happened to me when I was 5 or when I was 6. Or there are other people that have said to me, for example, like, maybe something significant did happen when they were 6 or 7 or whatever, like a robbery. I remember the story where this girl was telling me about someone robbed their house or broke into their house. But she couldn't remember the details of the things. She just remembered somebody robbed and kind of like shot her aunt or her grandma. But she couldn't remember exactly what really happened, except that this is the only thing. So this is probably the only thing she remembered. Maybe there were many other things that did happen that she saw, but because of the stressful event and the trauma that was connected to this event, she probably did. That's why she doesn't have memory of the event and these incidents, if you didn't remember, you don't remember them. If you don't tap into them, you're not going to be able to recognize.
Or is it almost like a defense mechanism where your brain is now trying to protect yourself from reliving a lot of these memories?
Of course.
Like when you talk about trauma, this is your brain shutting off, isn't it?
Of course. And it's like you see that a lot with like sexual abuse and children who've been sexually abused in early age. You see that there a lot of times they're so traumatized that this is happening. And, we all know that a lot of the sexual abuse happens with people not people you don't know. Contrary to what people believe in this part of the world, is like they always assume like, no, we're family, but it doesn't. Anyway, so it's the idea is that this kid is going through so much traumatic, and there are a lot of feelings that they're not understanding. Of course, it depends on the age, but a lot of them do not understand these feelings that they're experiencing. And it's a fear. Fear, there's anger, there's like ambivalence of what's happening, that they do use a defense mechanism. And a lot of these kids do later on develop a lot of psychiatric disorders. One of them is the dissociative disorder, where they're dissociating, where they have different identities, as you know. These are all defense mechanisms. So when so the I guess why we're doing this is that we need to let people understand that suppressing your emotions is not really benefiting you in any way. It's causing you to lose really sense of a lot of things. Like the next one is mental fatigue. Your brain is always tired. Yeah, you are tired because you takes energy to suppress these emotions. I mean, we only have certain amount of energy that we can hold on to. And if half of that is holding on, or even 80% of it is holding on to emotions because you're so scared to express it. So of course you're going to be mentally fatigued and tired. And maybe that's one of the reasons why there are people that are, I mean, besides that, if you're not sleeping well, sleeping is another one of these things. It's going to cause you to be fatigued.
And if you're suppressing these emotions, one way that people do this is by making themselves busy.
Yep.
So they just try to put as much on their plate as possible. And then that's what kind of drives them towards this mental fatigue. Like they're not giving themselves any breaks in the day to just be.
That's right. And you're constantly thinking about what to do next and next and next. And you see people that are like workaholics, and then they're mamaholics and babaholics, and they're doing all these activities, and you see that their calendar is so full, and because they're avoiding to be by themselves with their own space.
Because that's terrifying.
Because that is terrifying. And then you end up starting to feel certain feelings that you don't know what to do with. And all of these are a form of defense mechanism, because if you're defending against these negative feelings that you don't want to recognize, or you don't want to recognize your hurt and your pain.
But then you don't even know how to deal with it. Like I know for me, I don't know how to deal with my anger. But just, isn't it okay to be angry sometimes?
Of course it is.
And to express that?
Of course it is. And I think that's the thing is that a lot of people feel that expressing anger is bad. And it depends on your environment. There are two types of families, right? So there are families that have expressed too much anger in a way that was very aggressive and violent. So the kids, like usually one of the kid or two of the kid grow up being afraid of anger. So they don't express anger because they think if they express, they're going to end up being like mom or dad, whoever was the angry one. And then you've got the other family who's saying to you, like, don't express anger. Anger is a bad thing. We're not an angry family, They put this facade that they're always supposed to be happy. And so if you're disappointed, frustrated, angry, we're not supposed to express it because it's a bad thing. So you get kids that are growing up saying if they're angry, they don't express. And if they're angry, they don't want to express because they don't want to be violent. So either way, they're getting the message that anger is bad, and it's not bad. The same thing is like, I get all these like clients that I have to teach them how to confront. It's amazing how many people don't know how to confront, because these individuals have translated confronting means a negative thing, because people that are afraid of expressing anger, they don't confront because they're worried about the other person's retaliation or extreme response, and they're worried that they might not be able to handle it. So the idea is that when I tell people there's nothing wrong with confronting, confronting doesn't have to be a bad thing. They're always like looking at me, really, Dr. D? It's not. It's not a bad thing. I confront, I tell people how I feel. It's a matter of how you express it or how you say it. But people have this understanding. If I confront, it means that it's a negative thing. It means that I'm being angry. Most people, if you ask them why you don't confront, they say they're worried about the other person's reaction. And then when I say, well, how would their reaction be? Well, they might yell at me. They might scream at me. They might get mad at me. And so all of these, like in their mind, that's terrifying. It's like, it's an attack that they're not ready to. So they would rather not confront, eat up their emotions, which is the next thing, weight gain.
Okay.
Because we eat up our emotions. you'll see people that are struggling with their weight or that they're obese or have gained a lot of weight, a lot of times has something to do with their emotions.
Speaking of emotions,
Speaking of the emotion,
I am feeling very happy right now
whoa,
because
he suppressed his emotions by
The
working out.
co-host is here.
what is it? Just 10 minutes into the episode, he walks in.
Yeah, I just got out of the gym. Right?
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, this is better than
But
suppressing
it's
his
okay.
emotion.
That's true. And the episode before that, I got to release all my emotions about Mehdi.
That's right.
Oh boy.
I'm the only one who haven't expressed anything today.
Really?
Yeah.
No?
I worked all day. I'm tired.
Miskina.
I express some of my anger toward my students. you
Okay.
know.
Hey,
So we're talking about suppressing
Yes.
emotions and the negative result of people that suppress their emotions. Because a lot of times, as I was telling Haya, is like a lot of times people think that they're really doing themselves a favor by suppressing it because they think like, why bother, Dr. D? It's better not talk about it. Who cares anyways? And they don't understand that it's going to come to haunt you after a while.
that's actually very true.
So
But true.
what's after weight gain then?
So weight gain, it's the emotional expression. So most people that are struggling with their weight, even when they do diet, they don't lose their weight, or that they have gained weight. So the weight loss, I get people saying, I've tried working out, I do Zumba, I don't know what, I really have these like planned meals and I can't lose weight. And then they don't believe me when I say, look, because there are negative feelings that you have and that has been accumulated for a while and that you don't express. And most of the time, if you look at the character, not that the people that express are not overweight, but a lot of times people that are quiet, passive, that are threatened, non-expressive, they tend to be struggling with weight gain. So the next one is bad sleep habits. So we were talking about how your mind could be fatigued or that you have memory lapses, which has a lot to do with individuals who suppress their emotions end up having bad sleep habits.
Like insomnia or
Like
just
they either have insomnia or that they sleep, but they have interrupted sleep. They oftentimes wake up at different times or they have a very hard time sleeping because they're thinking all the time. So you'll see people saying, I couldn't sleep. I was thinking all the time, or my mind was tired because I have all these activities in it. And so they have to end up either taking medication to sleep or being able somehow try to find a way to sleep. So this bad sleep habits could be, or that they're sleeping in the daytime and staying up at night. Their cycle is very interrupted. So, most of the time, if you are one of those individuals, you might want to think about See, and I also truly believe that suppressing your emotions is, some people don't know that they're suppressing their emotions.
So what are some good ways that someone could deal with it other than seeing a psychologist? If they can't
Well, I
afford
mean,
it.
I think
If
there's
they can't afford it.
if they can, and it could be that they can't afford it. No, I think you know what? I go back to exercise and diet. To be honest,
What about talking
I
to
mean,
a
talking
friend?
to a friend.
Yeah.
But we were just talking about it, like you were
And not
saying
texting. Sorry. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah,
But, like-
because a lot of people think that they're texting, but I think, I mean, of course, talking to a friend, you just need to find somebody that you feel safe with.
Yeah.
But the problem is that if they don't go to a psychologist, then they have to talk to a friend. But let's say they've got these feelings toward that friend, or let's say some of these suppressed emotions have something to do with their childhood where they were abused, or their parents were bad to them, or some trauma that happened to them that they've never told anyone. They're not going to tell a friend. So, I mean, I know you're saying if they can afford it or not. I'm suggesting that if you're in school, try to use the counseling center at school,
Yeah.
and if nothing else, then you need to make it as a budget. Don't eat out every night on the weekend. Don't buy that expensive purse or shirt. Save your money and come and help work on your mental health. Because, as I was saying, all of these things that you do, the next one is elevated blood pressure. You're going to have a lot of, medical problems if you're suppressing your emotions. So the idea is that you might not afford to go to a psychologist, but then you're going to have to spend a lot more money going into the doctor and paying for the doctor because you can't maintain your blood pressure or you're having digestive problems. And some people even have the irritable bowel movement. So, or that they're having wrinkles and then they have to go to Botox because also holding on
It's
to
funny
your
that
feelings.
you bring that up because there are a lot of
Wrinkles?
people. No, not wrinkles. Irritable bowel syndrome.
Yes.
Because that's really common here.
Yes.
I was talking to the pooping doctor that I know. he's a what are they called? Colonoscopy, whatever.
Colonoscopy.
No, that's
colonoscopy
that's
is
when they
the
clean you out.
equipment.
That's when they clean you out. He's one of the doctors that deals with
Urologist?
no. I forget the name. Oh man, he'll kill me. He's coming on the show too.
He is?
Yeah, he's gonna come on and talk about pooping and what's right, what's wrong, and
Yeah, I want to know.
right.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Wouldn't it be cool to know and have him on? You could come on for that episode. If
Oh,
you
that
want.
would be nice. I
That
want to
definitely.
know.
Oh,
Okay.
100%. He's a really nice guy
He's
too.
a nice guy?
Yeah, wicked nice guy. But he was telling me that a lot of people actually have issues here.
Yeah.
And
then when you say something, they're like, no, I don't have any problems. It's not a mental health stuff.
that's the thing. Do you think it's more mental health that people have irritable bowel
Of course
syndrome?
it is.
Like I know a lot of family members and people that I know closely. They're like they've got serious bathroom issues.
Now, the thing is that it could be also genetic, right? It could be physiological. We're not dismissing that, but it's not 100% physiological. And I think people need to start understanding that when you're having problem digesting in your stomach and you're having stomach problem, you might want to evaluate your mental health and you might evaluate. The issue is that why would you want to go to a psychologist? Because I go back to the idea that most people do not know they're suppressing their emotions. I had a friend, she had irritable bowel movement and she kept, sorry, my hair was
I
in
was
my
just gonna say your hair's like
My
right in
hair's
front of
like in
it was
front.
right in front of your
Wow, and it's
glasses. And I
itching.
was like
But she kept on having problems with her digestive system and pooping and I don't know what. And I said to her,
I
like,
got Dr. D to say poop.
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 So I
Say that
said,
again.
because I'm so proper, I never say any of this stuff.
you never say any of this stuff.
No.
I bring out the worst in you.
Yeah, you do bring out the worst.
I think that's a good thing.
Also, this is supposed to be a 20-minute episode, Mehdi.
Sorry. You guys brought me into this. You said come in.
She told you to come in.
Oh, so you didn't invite me on this one.
decision
So Dr. D
of
did not
I'll
invite me on this one.
No, I did.
I'm hurt.
But
I'm suppressing my emotions right
you are
now.
suppressing. You should because you've got us in the room and you just can't say anything
Yeah.
What?
because you're scared to tell us anything about how you feel.
I'm-
How do you feel about me being with
Ooh.
Hey, and you're have been like out?
Honestly,
Yeah.
relieved.
Ah,
I'm not gonna.
liar.
No, because I think Haya has a lot to offer the world.
Oh,
And
are we
she-
talking about this
she
on
lives-
air?
She lives in her little shell.
She's in her little shell.
Okay, how about we don't speak for me because I'm right here and
Ooh,
can speak for
snap.
myself?
See, she's suppressing some emotions right there.
Actually, no, I'm full blown confronting you as we were talking about earlier
Oh.
and saying that I don't want you speaking for
I actually
me.
have to listen to the last episode.
Yes. Yes, you
Oh
do.
boy, Dr. D, she's stirring trouble now.
No, I think.
No, the last
what
episode we were
is it?
talking about your privilege. It's okay.
Yeah.
With the male privilege?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
we
he's
did.
amazing.
Wow.
No, I'm a white patriarchal male
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with
Heterosexual.
However, I do suppress.
has-
I used to suppress my emotions, but not anymore.
But when you suppress your emotions, were you overweight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
have difficulty sleeping? Hey, this is good. I could
Yes.
do a case study.
Yeah.
Did you feel that you have problems remembering certain events because you had
100%.
memory lapses? Oh my God. If you would have continued, you were younger, but you could have had blood
No, this
pressure.
was recent. This was recent.
So did
This-
you
I
have
had
elevated blood pressure?
high blood pressure?
Do you have
I
any
was,
poop problem?
Yes, I used
You
to.
were pooping
No, I was
problem.
constipated.
See, that's right.
See, I was constipated for like I regularly. I would go every 3 days back
That
then.
is right. So, I mean, part of it could be biological, this digestive
This
thing.
was not
But you-
biological.
But you're going to have to think about, yes. So, for example, some of the events that have happened in your life, you probably like suppressed it because some people also think it's better me not speaking about it. You know, from our other episode, I think we've talked about like a lot of times we're not welcome to express our emotions. Men are not. So, especially for men, is like if he comes out and he says, I mean, the only time he's been told that it's okay to express your emotion if it's anger.
Yeah. That's it. That's the only acceptable
We've-
emotion.
no,
Like
but-
they're not allowed to cry.
No,
and they're not-
I cry.
Yeah,
I've
but we're
learned in the
talking
last
about
2
in
years.
general.
That's
In
because
general,
you're
yeah.
privileged.
In general,
You're that privileged white
but,
guy.
No, but yeah, but I couldn't cry before. It was her. She got me into the
See?
opening up and
Especially
and
with
crying.
DJ. When DJ cries, you've changed your tone.
Yeah, it used to be, come on, buddy, suck it up. Now
Yes.
it's, all right, buddy, cry it out, get it out. I understand you're upset.
See?
And because when he does suppress his emotions, he's a different kid.
See?
Just like me
But you can
and
see it,
everybody.
see?
Yeah, 100%.
But where did DJ pick up the idea that even suppressing his emotions? Like, that's what I want to
When
know.
he says, suck it up.
When I used to say, suck it up.
See?
Like,
So
he was
see-
1 year old and he'd
but-
fall and I'd be like, suck it up, kid.
And
Do you see why some people don't know? Because from the beginning, they've been told to suck it up. So they have not calculated in their head that means suppressing emotions. Remember, we tell kids these kind of terminology, suck it up. You're not supposed to be sharing. Why are you crying? You're the man of the house when he's only 5, for God's sake. Or when he cries, instead of saying to him, look, it's okay to cry. No, men don't cry. You're a boy. You're tough. And so the idea is that we are teaching them to suppress. So it's an automatic reaction. So can you imagine when they come to my office and they're like 30 or 25 and I'm like, you've suppressed your emotion. They're like, what? I haven't suppressed my emotion. I express my emotion very well. I had this person say, I express my emotion very well. I said, really? And then I usually ask them to journal. So I said, okay, well, let's journal. And then when the person brought it back and I'm like, can you please tell me which, and then they read it. They're supposed to read it to me, not I read it, they read it because it opens up the unconscious. So I said, read, and they're reading and reading. And I said, 1 minute, can you please tell me where was the emotion in that paragraph? And then they are confused because like I was saying, thinking, they talk about these action verbs. They thinking that this is feelings. And then he's like, oh, you're right. I didn't realize I don't have any feelings. So a lot of times it's an automatic reaction when you say suck it up, that he's going to suck it up. And then he's not going to realize that he's suppressing all these emotions and it's not going anywhere. That's another thing people think. When you're young, you have a lot more energy. So fatigue that we talked about doesn't exist because you have energy. And then suddenly, you are 35, 40, and then you realize you're just tired. You're starting to become depressed. All the things you enjoy, you don't want to enjoy. Your energy level is very low. You don't care and don't give a shit about anything. And you just want to sleep. And people are wondering why? Why? Not realizing that this is just have been, and throughout the years, you have been suppressing things, trying to act like you're strong, tough. You don't want to be vulnerable because vulnerable is weakness. And therefore, panic attacks are associated with suppressed emotions, right? Depression is suppressed emotions. Failed marriages, failed relationships, interpersonal problems.
It could all be linked. Yeah, oh, definitely.
So, I don't know. I don't see where people think it's more positive to suppress your emotions than.
No, but I think it is linked to our last episode where we're talking about these acceptable modes of behavior. Whereas women are expected to be emotional. But then even like I know for me, when I get emotional, before I always used to say, I never liked when people said, hey, you're being emotional. And now I full blown, I'll own it. Yes, I am being emotional. Yes, I am being sensitive. This is how I feel. And so when DJ's having one of his, if he's very cryy and whiny attached to me, I ask him like, are you feeling very sensitive right now? He goes, yes, I'm just very sensitive right now. I'm like, okay, come hug it in. And then
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because the other day he was like, Daddy, I'm just feeling sensitive. I'm having a bad day. And I was
That's
proud of him, but I was
cute.
very proud
Yeah.
of him for saying that.
Good job.
Because then I knew, okay, maybe it's not
Tread
just him.
lightly.
Yeah, it's not just him being a spoiled little brat. It's him actually just having a bad day like adults.
That's nice.
Yeah.
But see, look, this is really going to help DJ throughout,
Inshallah.
growing up. Because he's going to realize that feelings are not something we are afraid of, that feelings are just like eating and drinking and breathing. We have to normalize them and we have to allow our kids not to be scared of any feelings. Doesn't matter what it is, And I think that if we can allow them that space, then when they grow up, then we don't have to worry about their suppressing emotions and having health problems and mental problems and.
what are some ways that people can express their emotions?
To me, I feel like obviously one of the ways is to talk about it. But if you don't have a safe person to talk about, really journaling helps a lot.
What about
For
screaming
those
it out?
individuals, screaming
Does
it out.
that
helps.
actually work? Because
No.
it works for me.
Well, it could. It does. Before people were like, the idea is that expressing it or like exercising it gets it all out. I mean, these are just means of helping out, but it's not going to replace talk therapy or talk at least, so the catharsis of it, where people used to think that if you express it, then you'll feel much better about it, or it does work, but if it has to be in combination of many things. So you have to be able to eat the right food. I mean, there are certain food that makes you more angry, it makes you more edgy, irritated, caffeine, exactly. But then also it's like if you are eating the wrong food, which is your stomach is having a hard time digesting it, that's going to make you more irritated, right? And also, so you won't be able to express, anyways. And exercising, dieting, journaling, it's a really great way. Meditation, deep breathing. Like, people need to take classes that are really going to teach them how to deep breathe correctly. There are lots of people that don't know how to breathe. They don't know how it is supposed to go in the center of your stomach, in and out, and they don't know. So they think they're breathing just by having it from the neck up, not neck down. So I think but it's a skill because we live in a fast pace. This is also something like driving. Like if you haven't been taught how to do it right, you're not gonna do it. Yoga, but some people are like, oh, I can't handle yoga because I'm high strung. I'm the same way. I'm high strung. Yoga never worked for me, but in yoga is when I learn how to breathe. I learn how to be okay with myself. Like I'm very centered. It makes me focus. And also to recognize what is the feelings that you are suppressing. You have to focus. You have to be with the here and now.
I have cried so many times after a yoga class in Shavasana because there's something about breath and movement in one, and then kind of lying down at the end, everything comes to the surface. So yoga is a great.
And it's another technique I teach people is that you have to allow yourself to be available for yourself. For example, if someone said something to me, and so it's a technique I really teach a lot of my clients, and I tell them to ask themselves, like, for example, if you said something to me right now, and then I start realize, like, you got to really know your body. Then I realized that I just got hurt or irritated. Like I have to identify where it hurts me in my body. And then I always ask myself, why did that bother me? Why did Haya's statement bother me? Like you really have to be able to explore within yourself. Instead of moving on to the next thing, is like take a minute to really recognize that this statement has hurt me and to recognize it. So I say to myself, why did that bother me? It did bother me. So I'm recognizing it bothered me. And now I have to find out why it bothered me. And then I come up with the idea that maybe is because of you reminded me of something I don't like about myself, or maybe you triggered a memory that happened to me that I didn't want to talk about, whatever. So being within yourself, in the here and now, it's really important not to move on to the next level, like just stay. So if you want to cry, like you were saying, if they say you're sensitive, don't fight against it and say, no, I'm not sensitive. Just say, yes, I am sensitive. I mean, what's wrong with being sensitive? So people, I realize that they defend against certain feelings. Like the only one they don't defend is if you say you're happy. Oh, yeah, I'm happy.
Everyone's cool with that.
Everyone's cool with that.
You brought up a really good point. And we've talked about this, me and Meg, before, and it was a long time ago. I think it was way earlier episodes. And she brought up, I think it was a book called Unpacking Pain or something like that, where if you do suppress your emotions, it causes bodily pain.
Yeah.
Like if you have financial issues, usually you carry it in your lower back. If you have
that's very
emotionally,
true.
You carry it in your upper shoulders and your traps and tension. Yeah. So, I mean, that actually, because you're tensing your central nervous system.
Yes.
And yeah, I thought that was a great point when you talked about the body.
And then the most time that you see, I mean, and then what happened so these individuals are suppressed emotions, but because they didn't know they suppressed emotions, they've bottled it up and now it's coming out in physical symptoms. So how do these people are going to ever recognize that they have suppressed emotions is because they come to us with physical symptoms. And because they've gone to every doctor and the doctor can't find anything wrong with why you can't poop or why your back is hurting. Like, I've had clients where they've gone to so many doctors here in Kuwait, spent so much money, have traveled abroad to get a diagnosis of some sort and come back and the doctor says there's nothing wrong with you. it must be psychological. So by the time they come to us, they've already seen a lot of doctors who's saying, look, there's something wrong with you. Go find out psychologically. And then they'll come to us and then they don't know. And like, no, I don't have any problems. No, I had a really happy childhood. No, I have because they've been trained and programmed to not recognize. So obviously, they're not going to think. But most of the time, it's stomach, it's the back,
Well,
their back.
It's funny. You know what? Now that I think of it, everyone has a
and
disc.
joints.
Yeah,
joints
yeah,
hurting.
you're right. And they all
Yes.
have disc issues. Everyone in Kuwait has a
yeah.
disc issue. So if you're packing your financial pain in your lower back, could
right.
could that all be related
That's
to
right.
it?
That's right. And there are people like, I'm one of them. Like I have a high level tolerance to stress. So I don't really can recognize when I'm stressed until after a while. Because I so it depends on your tolerance. Like if you're used to like being bombarded,
Yeah.
so you have to be able to recognize, yes, I must be going through a lot of stress. And this is the reason why I'm doing certain things. But when you don't have that insight, then you're not going to be able to recognize it. And so you're going to end up having, first thing is physical symptoms. Then it's the emotional symptoms. So if you're already having a lot of physical symptoms and you've gone to a lot of doctors and the doctor's saying, look, lady, you spent enough money on me, panic attacks. There is a lot of biological factors on obviously panic, but you also need to look in the underlying why. Yeah, so if the doctor's saying to you, look, there's nothing wrong with you, you've taken every x-ray you can, maybe you want to look at something different. Journal, write. Every day people should write. And some people are like, I don't like writing. Do you know what you should do? Is record. That's what I tell my clients. I know you don't like to write. None of us like to write because we're in such a high-tech kind of world. Record it.
I've never
on your
heard
phone.
of that.
Yeah, they can record.
Yeah.
Like somebody pissed me off today. I was just like, I got pissed off because of this and this and this. In a way, I think like social media is nice that it's allowing people to express some of their frustration.
Mehdi stories.
I know. That's why I do my rant of the week. I do a rant a week now because there are things in this world that really piss me off.
Yeah.
And if I
like
don't
the vegan
express
story.
the vegans, yes.
What was the other one? Have you had any more?
I got a good one coming up this week.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, I got a real good one on like coaching and our inability as human beings, or our inability here in the Middle East to realize that change isn't over one session or a day. And we've talked about this multiple times on the show. And it just pisses me off when people think that they could hire, a coach or a trainer, and it's one session and they're going to be the best player in the world. I do CrossFit every day to be better.
Yeah.
I don't do it just once a week. And it's just like, it just pisses me off.
No, I mean, can you imagine being in my place? They've suppressed their damn feelings for the past like 20 years. And they come to me. I had this person come to me for one session, and again, like people's priority is really screwed up. The idea is that they don't do a budget for counseling, for example, but then they have a budget to be able to travel, to be able to, all of this is not going to replace your mental health. So I had this woman who's like had major issues, a lot of stuff. And then she comes to me for one session and she's like, wants me to cure her. How? I just want to understand suppressing emotions because you have taught your brain to automatically, cover up these feelings. Don't you think that it requires a time for me to get to know you, to get to know where are these, emotions being packed, and then to express them? And so it's amazing how people, their priorities really screwed up. But then they're arguing with me about, the session and how much it's going to cost. And then you see them, you run into them at the avenues or some mall in that like the grand, what's that?
Sitting in like Gucci or
Premier.
something or like whatever.
Exactly. How could,
Louis Vuitton buying their new bag.
Again, because it's priority. Just like you're prioritizing that you do your exercising every day,
Twice a day now.
So the idea is that because you prioritize it, you pay for those. You're paying for the classes, you're paying for your membership, you're paying for the trainer, because you have prioritized. You've made a budget for this.
It's important to me.
It's important to you.
I know she knows.
It's exactly the point. It's important to me.
And she knows for my mental health, she knows if I don't go to the gym or vice versa, if she doesn't go to the gym for a week, oh my God, our household's hell.
Am I nice during a deload?
Oh no, she is a horrible person to be around. But
a horrible person to be around.
when you're deloading, you were in such
Not
a bad mood.
horrible.
Not a horrible. No, I take it not horrible.
I'm not
that's
that's
a strong word. You're not.
But
no,
I'm
you're
not
not.
horrible.
You're not horrible. But an interesting study came out in females. This just came out in females, and it's telling us something we've already known: that women who exercise regularly express more positive emotions during negative situations.
Wow, Haya, you and I are doing well.
You guys are doing
We're
good.
doing very well.
But don't you see that? Like, don't you realize that when you guys do work out?
No, for sure. For me, my son will even tell you. Like when I don't have the time or I haven't met with my trainer, my son says, "Please, Mom, can you call your trainer? You need to really work out." Because they recognize that when I work out, my mood is better. I'm smiling. I'm laughing. I feel good about myself. And so my energy is good.
Confidence is always high.
But so, I mean, even my kids recognize, "Oh, Mom, it's time for you to call your trainer. Why are you not working out, Mom? You really need to." Like they'll make these kind of comments because they can recognize, and I can. My mood is awful. My energy is awful if I don't work out. And I don't even do it as much as you guys do it.
Makes a difference. Ask her. I've been doing 2-a-days now. I wake up at 4:30. I do about a half an hour on that god-awful machine over there.
Oh,
the
jeez,
assault
yeah.
bike. It's horrible. But ask her. My mood the last week and a half has been phenomenal. Like, I go to work. I'm smiling. I'm in a great mood.
Yeah.
It's not because of me.
It's always because of you, baby. It is always, especially when you're like, "Get away from me." Do you know it's her birthday tomorrow?
Oh my God. Happy birthday. She did
Thank
tell us
you.
that last time, but I think I forgot. Oh, I have to sing for you tomorrow in a I'll leave a voice.
That's a good idea. We're doing the AUK live thing. This show
That's
will
on
probably
On the
drop after.
19th.
Yeah, day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
We could sing her happy birthday there.
That
we
wouldn't
can.
be embarrassing at all.
Can we
And all my
throw?
students will be there.
Can we throw cupcakes at the students?
No, of course not.
Okay,
Well, I'm
so
gonna
to
throw
wrap up
t-shirts.
this episode,
Episode. But I hope that people, what they need to get out of this episode is please, if you've already learned to suppress your emotions, it is time to prioritize, just like you prioritize exercising and ordering these meals that really cost money. You could give up something, give up shopping for a week. Don't travel this month. Do something. This is for your mental health. I know that clients that really prioritize their sessions with me, some of them like can't wait to see me. Because I mean, how many places do you have where you can just sit, download, express, talk, confidential? I don't know you from Adam. I don't even take notes half of the stuff. So I mean, I wish I know most of the psychologists in Kuwait. I wish I can go sit on somebody's couch and just vent and be able to just like download all this negative
That's
energy.
what you got me for, Dr. D.
That's exactly why. Exactly why I do it, because like I don't have anyone else.
I think for younger people and for people in general, find out the free resources too. Like when we had
Counseling
AUK,
center, yeah.
AUK, but for people who aren't in university, there are free online groups that you could go on.
You can and join online.
And it's kind of like a group thing
There are
too.
people
So
that do that.
it's kind of good, It's
Actually, group support is nice.
it is
Yeah.
nice, and we should do an episode on group support.
Yeah.
That would be a good episode because I know for me as a student, you remember my anger problems.
Yeah.
I bottled everything up. I got into fights. I got into a lot of trouble.
Yep.
I got into a lot of trouble, and Dr. D saved my ass when I was in school. That's definitely.
I made him a better man for you.
I appreciate it.
No, it's true. She did coach me through a lot of things in the beginning of our relationship. There were a lot of things I
That's
didn't know how to
right.
deal with.
That's
And
right.
I
used to-
remember.
I helped him.
Yeah. We had
Yes.
one couples counseling.
Yes, that didn't go
Yeah.
too well.
I don't even remember.
I remember
that.
it. It didn't go too well.
Am I,
I don't remember
suppressing that
either.
emotion?
I got
See?
yelled
Am I
at. I got
suppressing-
yelled at after it.
Yeah, from her.
Yeah, she made me a new one.
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Because I wasn't suppressing my emotions.
You were so.
I was being too
Listen.
honest.
So, key takeaway. Don't suppress them.
But we've worked on you.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Don't
Yeah.
suppress them.
The
Let-
emotions.
the
Don't
emotions?
suppress your
Call
emotions.
Dr. D.
That's call
Talk
doctor
to somebody.
or talk to somebody. Get
Yeah.
online.
Journal.
Exercise. Journal.
Yeah.
Get online. I like that idea. Online. Yeah.
Great.
Support group.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, please head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. You can also find us on Instagram at The Project Kuwait. Thank you, and join us next time.